Welcome back to Views and Vibes, everybody. We are talking about the misuse of expectations in relationships. And before we went to break, you were talking about, well, we were talking about how women sometimes will stay with a man because of bad sex. Now, well, not because of bad sex. Even if she had bad sex, she will continue to stay with him because she's looking for a relationship. Now, is that always the case? And why would you stay with somebody if you know the sex isn't going to be good? Because that is a major part of your relationship. Or do you disagree with that?
See, we're the one blanket covers all. I have to speak specifically to the fact that women will deal with a lot of things, a lot of shortcomings from a man, and if sex happens to be one of them, then she's, in her mind, she can grow. They can grow together, and they can learn and mature in the relationship. She has other things that are more important to her, I'm going to assume, if she's staying, although it's bad sex. He may be a really nice guy. He may be he may possess the qualities of a man that she would one day marry, and the sex, you know, they may have to grow with that.
Well, let's talk about the qualities. Let's talk about the different qualities that people have. Now, when I talk to different people, I'm out, if I'm in the street or my different, seminars I hold, I hear all these different expectations that people have, the different qualities they want. And one thing I say to them is, give me the 5 essential qualities that somebody has to have. Beyond anything else, what are 5 things that the person that you want to be with has to have? And you hear a whole variety of things. One of the top ones is honesty. They want honesty, they want communication, but it varies between all people. When you talk to people, and Yonder, you've hosted a lot of different events too, where people come out and talk about, sex and relationships. What are some of the key things that people say that they want in a relationship?
One of the top 5 is good sex.
Okay.
I mean, really good. I mean, and it all depends on where they are in life. I do seminars with some of the folks under 25, some of them are over 40. So it varies. Over 40 usually want honesty and, communicate and everything, but under 25 want some good sex.
In my book, I actually asked that, what are the 5 basic questions or the 5 requirements that your mate must have? And in my studies, I found that, again, it varies. It all depends on who you're speaking to, where they are in their life. But I hear more, he has to have the 6 figures or sheet, and let's not just make this a guy thing. Guys and girls.
We want money. We want women who make money too.
Yeah, you guys want women, but for a lot of the wrong reasons, I think. But yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's explore that.
And we can explore that in 2.3 seconds. But right now, we're going to deal with this. The reality of it is, I found that they say that they want. They often say he must be an attractive man, and guys equally say that the woman must be attractive as well.
So they go for the physical. That's one of the top
I find that it's more physical when you ask them raw, but once you sit down and you get to more of a serious conversation, then they'll go into the substance, the things that are substance. So I find that interesting, but one of the things I also notice is that the first things that come out of your mouth is usually what speaks to the core of your heart. So if you're talking about money and you're talking about, attractiveness and things along that line, then I understand more why the divorce rate is as high as it is, because we really go into relationships with unrealistic expectations of what is fundamentally important in relationships.
But before we can even get to relationships, we're talking about dating. We're talking about when you first meet somebody and the expectations you have there. And so why is it that so many people go into these dating situations? Once again, going back to the same question, go into these dating situations believing that they're going to find somebody with all these perfect qualities, and they're looking for these different things, and then a relationship is going to develop from this one date.
Well, see, a relationship starts from one date. So once
but isn't it unrealistic to have the expectation that this one date will lead to a relationship? Because most relationships aren't going to even continue anyway. I mean, there's more divorces than people who actually stay together. So what makes you think that you're going to meet the perfect person and continue on with them for the rest of your life?
From the first date?
From the first date.
I think that you should go into every relationship with the expectations that he may be the one. But my philosophy is that I will date far more men than I will marry. You just and me simply be a part of the process.
But isn't that a lot of pressure to put on both you and your date?
Well, so what do we do? So do we go out and let's say, when you meet a woman, you meet her because you say, wow, she's a beautiful woman, correct? Okay. So you expect her to possess certain qualities that a beautiful woman would have, correct?
No, because you don't know. No. Beauty doesn't speak to the qualities that somebody may have inside. Exactly. And that's where the conversation comes in. That's why I'm saying it's unrealistic to go on a date. That's why you use that first date to figure out what qualities they have.
Let's pull back the blankets on it. So when you meet a woman and you see that she's beautiful, you don't expect or hope that she's beautiful inside the same as she is outside. Is that not your hope? Is that not your expectation initially? Or do you see a woman and you see that she's beautiful, and you automatically think, oh, she's probably screwed up inside, but I'm going to go out on a first date with her. So we got to make sure we're not contradicting ourselves. We really do have expectations of forever with every woman you meet first. And then once you meet her, then you realize that maybe she's not forever, and it's just the one day.
You don't have forever when you first meet. I mean, really, men are visual. I mean, really, we see something and we like, we say, I just want to hit it, for real. I mean, a whole lot of days, we just want to hit it.
Right.
I don't want to bring you home. I want to do nothing else with you.
One blanket does not cover all. That might be you, and that might be where you are.
But that's what visual are. Men are visual.
Yes.
I guess sometimes we see, and sometimes we see something that we get to meet at work, and they become our friend, and that's who becomes who we are, who our mate be, who our mate becomes. But most time with men are visual. We go to clubs and do things in nature. We're visual in nature.
We all are visual first. So if we're dealing with just the club, see, the thing is, we got to stay focused. And what are we talking about? Are we talking the broad spectrum, or are we talking dating? Are we talking the good time girl, the initial meeting? Is she beautiful and we don't want anything other than a beautiful woman? You know, we got to stay focused on what the conversation is, and then we can
And that's the whole thing. We start with dating. That's what we start to.
Yes.
You can't have a relationship without starting with dating.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And you can't start, when you start out with the first date, you come into it as if it's a blank page, but you still, I would assume that you would approach it from the perspective of, this could be everything, or it could just be left right here at the dinner table. But you've got to keep your expectations open if you're dating for long term.
So what are some reasonable expectations to have then for a first date? When you first meet somebody and you decide that you guys are going to go out, what are some reasonable expectations to have for that first date?
For the first date?
For that first date,
To enjoy yourself, first and foremost.
Okay.
Just simply enjoy yourself.
So you shouldn't be planning a wedding after, after that first,
Absolutely not. But we're not, are we speaking to planning a wedding, or we're talking about expectations?
But some people do that. But some people, when they first meet somebody and they figure, okay, we're going on a date, and they're sitting there, they may just talk about, this is what I want to get married, and they're looking at that person as a potential mate.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll continue this. I want to get deeper into this, and we'll talk about that after this. We're going to take a quick break, and we will come back with Views and Vibes.